Hey, this is Michelle Kapaska, and welcome to my Fearless Innovator podcast. Thank you for joining me today. My hope is to inspire, educate, and entertain you. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to the Fearless Innovator podcast. My name is Michelle Kapaska, and I'm your host. Today, we're going to talk about grateful, joy, and forgiveness in the spirit of Thanksgiving. 3 years ago, I received a phone call from my mom. She was living in her winter home in Mesa, Arizona, and she was ready to go back home to Iowa. The urgency in her voice was fierce and determined. I told her, "No problem, Mom. Let me get some things taken care of at my house in Tampa, and I'd be on the next flight." Just a side note, I had only been home a week since my last 2-week visit with my mom in Mesa, but that didn't matter to me. What mattered to me most was making my mom happy, and because of her recent mental decline, I dropped everything and made it happen. I called my sister Melissa in Arkansas, and she was all in. Within 1 week, we were both on planes headed to Mesa, Arizona. When we arrived, we rented a large vehicle for the three of us, as it was also our plan to convince my mom that she should take her personal belongings back home with her. Luckily, she agreed, and we packed the vehicle for the long journey home back to Iowa. It was our plan to take our time and stay in short-term rentals and make this a documented journey for my mom. Our first overnight stop was a very small town in New Mexico. I don't even remember the name of the town. It was so small, the streets were made of dirt, but the house advertised seemed to be quaint with a lot of character when I booked it. However, upon arrival, my mom noticed these weird, devilish figures throughout the house. She said it gave her the heebie-jeebies. I told her, "Let's just leave the light on, and if you hear anything at night, just holler at me because I've got my gun with me." I have to admit, they were a bit scary, but we managed to settle in, and my mom stayed with my sister Melissa, and I went to the back room. The next day, we ventured off for Roswell, New Mexico. Several years prior, Mom and Dad had visited Roswell, as they were both intrigued by the aliens. After several hours, we were off to Amarillo, Texas for our next stay. This guest house was in the backyard of the host. It was a beautiful 2-story house decorated with old cars. Our stay was uneventful, but we did enjoy the food in Texas. When we were planning our trip, Mom had spoken up and said that she'd like to go see the Tin Man. Melissa and I had no idea what she was talking about, so we Googled it, and yes, she was right. The Wizard of Oz Museum was in Liberal, Kansas, along with Dorothy's house and statues of all the characters from the movie. Mom said she had driven by that exit so many times, but wasn't able to stop. So we said, yes, we're going to go see the Tin Man. We stayed for a couple of hours and captured our pictures, and back on the road we went, destined for Hastings, Kansas, where we found a hunt camp. This short-term rental was in town, but mainly hunters came here. We made friends with our hosts, and they told us of the restaurants in the area, and then we went to bed early so we could get good sleep for our next day's adventure. As much as my mom would get the heebie-jeebies about weird places, she was also very intrigued by them. So we had planned to go to the Villisca Axe Murderer's house in Villisca, Iowa, but discovered it was closed for the season. We said, no biggie. Then we're going to go to Council Bluffs Gambling. My mom loved to gamble, but let me set the story straight. She would only spend $100 and then it was game over. But I swear I've never seen two people, my mom and dad, that were ever so lucky. She or dad would always win. This day, however, didn't yield anything but laughter and fun for my mom. After about 2 hours, we were on the road to go back home. We only had 1.5 hours to go, and we safely got Mom home back to where she wanted to be. She was thankful to be home. You're probably thinking to yourself, what does this story have anything to do with real estate or being fearless, right? Well, technically, nothing. But in the spirit of Thanksgiving, I wanted to share with you a story of living life without regret, enjoying the journey, and helping others. There's one more piece to this story. It was on our way to Liberal, Kansas from Amarillo, Texas, that we pulled off for gas. At this gas station, we discovered these little rocks. The rocks all had a saying on them. We decided we'd each pick one and then share a little story about what that rock meant to us. Mom chose joy. She said it made her very happy that we both could come and get her and take her home. Reluctantly, Melissa chose forgiveness. I say reluctantly because deep down, Melissa knew there was someone in her life she needed to forgive, and she did. Mom and I both knew who she was talking about, but we didn't say anything. I chose grateful. I was grateful that God had given us the opportunity to take the time to spend with our mom on this journey. If there's one thing I'm guilty of, it's making sure I spent time with my mom and dad and other family members. I will never regret not doing something with them because I make sure it happens. If this time of year is difficult for you, I've always found that helping others, no matter how big or small, is the best thing to boost you right back up. It could be as simple as just talking with someone who needed someone to listen to, or helping someone at a food pantry. Remember, we only die once, and this is our time to be unself-absorbed, if that's a word, be kind and help others. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I'm looking forward to interviewing others that may have a compelling story to share about your journey in real estate investing. If you're interested, reach out to me at fearlessinnovator.com. Thank you for listening. I hope you're inspired, entertained, or you learned something new. Catch me later. Thank you for listening today. I hope you enjoyed the show. If I can help you invest in your future, reach out to me at fearlessinnovator.com. Catch me later.